Hello, this video will be focusing on the coal station and the 9/11 substations network. They're very important references to the current 6-seal timeline, which is over here. The Corey station on the 24th of November 2018 to the 1st of December 2018 in 2 different time zones. So the 2 types of main substations that runs on the 6th and 7th days rule, and that's very important as we must go by the sabbatical procedure. And the second main type of the reference would be 729, is what I call the 729 substation. So first of all, we just get into the 9/11 first. So the 4 parts that I want to show. 4 parts of the substations 9/11. This one part over here, it's August the 24th of 2018 to the 31st, and this is one out of the 4. The second one I want to show is over here. It's the 6th of September to the 13th of September, which is the second substation. The third one would be over here, which is the around the 23rd of June 2015 until 29th to 30th of June. So this is the third one. The fourth one is the original one, which is 9/11 back in the time in 2001. So this is the fourth one, the fourth reference over here that runs on the 6 and 7 day rule. All of the 4 references, they all run by the 6 and 7 day rule that can be applied to the core reference, which is the speculated 6-seal timeline. And this is, this would, of course, running from the 11th to the 17th of September, and the time zone will be the 12th until the 18th. And during that time in the Jewish calendar, it was Elul 23 to Elul 29. That was the Jewish calendar. The Elijah's calendar was Elul 24 until 231. And Enoch's calendar, Elul 28 until T3 the third. So there are 4 of them that can be applied because they're also running the same 6 and 7 day rule. They all are equalized and can be connected to this over here in November 2018. And all of them goes by the sabbatical rule, and because it is going by the sabbatical rule, it's just so important. To make references to these 4 places. This part it's just running on the same pattern of the E and the V and the E. And when the references are connected to the core reference, it would expand into a lot of meanings behind it. And that's the purpose of the God calendars, is to expand the meaning behind a single date. And so the use of this reference over here is explained before the importance of 828. It's part of the 9/11 series because it's running on Elu 11 to Elu 17, which is equalized with September 11 to the 17. And I just wanted to show that 828, that's the number of crucifixion, as explained before, being associated with 1828 on the Ides of March and the 27 and the 28th of November 2018. And the other part in 2015. So what we can see over here, it's also running the 9/11 pattern, because back in 9/11 it was Elu 23 to Elu 29. My Enos calendar is also Elu 23 over here to Elu 29 on the 6th of September. And especially on this first E, so this is again EV and E, and the 6 and 7 day rule. And the importance especially over here in Elu 23 and 24. And the first 2 days, which is just the same day because of the 2 different time zones in the world. So pretty much it's the 6 and the 7 on the same day in September. In September the 6 and the September of the 7. Back in via the Enoch's calendar. It actually is a Pentecostal date because God's calendar equalized this date to Sivan 6 to the 7, that's Pentecost. It's about 6 and 7, which is also equalized in the June the 6 and the June the 7 as well. The third one over here is also running on the 9/11 structure by the 6 and 7 day rule, and it's important to see that there's the first Pentecost and there's also a second Pentecost as well. The counting from the first Passover led to the first Pentecost, and just as the counting from the second Passover to the second Pentecost. The second Pentecost back in 2015 was on the 23rd to the 23rd to the 24th of June. And there's something about this because reference. There's the EVE and the first day being on the 23rd and 24th of June, linking to the 24th and the 25th of November 2018, which came from the reference. The first Pentecost, the 24th to the 25th in May 2015. And that was actually creating the code of Mount Everest, which is the highest mountain in the world. Because 5 plus 24 is 29, 6 plus 23 is 29. So that echoes to the 29 feet to Mount Everest. And being the highest mountain in the world also, of course, reference to the highest building in the world that comes to a height of 828 meters, and that, as explained before, being associated with the exponential number of the Euler's number. And so that's the main use of this. And remember that back in 26th of June 2015, that was the gay marriage, the same-sex marriage that legalized nationwide in the United States, and that was the mark of 9/11. Interestingly, that it went on the 3 days rule exactly on the V, which is the midst of the 6 and 7 day rule. And I think that's very important as well, being in the midst of it, because a same-sex marriage has been associated with rainbow, and as we know in the back in the days of Noah, there was a rainbow and a covenant that was made, and after the flood. So there's something about the flood, the worldwide judgment, and that's been connected because of the mist of that's been in the V position, so that's linking to the ideas of March 27, 28 of November 2018, that's been in the midst of the timeline, which is the 6 and the 7 seal reference. And the 6 and the 7 seal reference is interestingly connected with this marker in a way that been associated with the worldwide judgment. So it just all connected together, as explained before about the capitalized E, V, and E, because of the worldwide judgment that all the three events are connected to, including the 6 and the 7 seal in a worldwide scale. And so that's a very important marker in the midst of it. And so this is also part of the 9/11 structure, because of the 23rd of June is equalized with Elu 23 back in back in 11th of September 2001. That was on Elu 23, and 23rd of June is equalized to that until the 29th of June is equalized until the end. But the 17th of September, that was on the Elu 29, and so it's equalized to that. I know that there could be a lot more details that I would that I can support it of how they're equalized together more completely, but I just wanted to just do it briefly, but will be more detailed when it comes to the markers other than the substations. Markers will be later. Markers and submarkers that are connected to the core reference, and they're a bit different than a complete station here, because a single marker is just a single date, but this is like an entire timeline running by the 6 and 7 day rules, complete piece of a timeline. So a bit different. And lastly, and so going back to 2001, that that's definitely would be a perpetual reference to what is to come. And it also runs by the EVE. This positioning exactly with the 6 and 7 day rule, the same as with the speculated sexual timeline in late November 2018. And so now we can see that this is connected 9/11 to 9/17, connected to Kislev 11 to Kislev 17, and via the Enoch's calendar, and on the 24th to the 30th of November 2018, and that's equalized on the 11 to 17. So the 17th of September was the Great Market Crash, and it was on Elu 29. There's something about Elu 29 that I'm going to explain about it. There's a relationship between Elu 29 and Tishri 29, which is the sabbatical code of the 6 and the 7 month. So this we can see that it's the Ides of March, the 14th and 15th of September, being a mix of between the attack, the terrorist attack, and the Great Market Crash, and the mix of that is the Ides of March and the 14th to the 15th of September 2001, and that's going back in time. And that's 4 of them that just connected exactly to this place. And so we're now focusing on the 729 and the substations network, and 911 is important. 729 is also important. I call it 729 because it starts from 729. Just as 911 starts in 911. So there's 6 parts I want to show. So this is the first part of the 729 station. This is the first part. Second part is over here. Okay, well, going back to the first one. The first one, it's the 7th of November 2018 until the 13th of November 2018. So if it's in a different time zone, then that will be a day off, so it'll be on the 14th from the 8th. So that's about the 729 station. It's also similar to the 911 because it runs on the 6 and 7 day rule as well, because you have to be in the same structure to connect to the EF in the call reference down here below in late November 2018. So the second reference, second 729 station will be on the 13th of October 2015 until the 19th of October 2015. And that's the second one that I've been wanting to reference. And this is when I say about this, it's also connected with another partial reference. I think this is just like a part of a part of the whole thing. The other part of this would be I do believe that mated more complete is referencing back in a time in 2013. So 2013, back in a time in 2013. So that's the second part of the 2015. So so this she's done to the 5 and the 16 to 19 of October 2013. This 729 reference is actually it's a part of what has occurred over here in 2015. So I see both of them together as a complete piece in 2 different years together. And the third one will be here. So this is also a partial reference in 2018, another partial reference in 2015 that they combine together, and this is 729 reference. Even though it's been on a Tibet 13, starting on the Tibet 13 to Tibet 19, because God's calendars has equalized Tibet 13 Tibet 19, with history 29 to Chiswan 5 for the 6 and 7 day rule of the 729 structure. And so This is the third one. So it's 27th of December 2018 and the Tibet 13 until I do believe it stretches across to 2019. And that will be on the 2019, being on the 19 Tibet on the 2nd of January 2019. And the Tibet 13 or Tibet 19 here, it starts on a Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. So that will be the 25th of December 2015 until the 31st of December 2015. So that's Tibet 13 to Tibet 19 is still the 729 structure. And so right now I've shown 5 parts. So I don't believe there is the last part as well. There's another part. The 729. So I'm trying to find where it was located. Yes, so this is, yeah. This is what I'm trying to say is that this is partial reference, explained with 2013. This is also partial reference in 2016, and to make it whole and complete is to be combined with the one in 2015, and this is also a partial reference. So and this is a 729 reference because it runs of the Chisvan 2 to 5 as well via the Elijah's calendar. So altogether there are 3 complete sets of the 729 references to connect to this core station of the sextile timeline. And that's a current piece. So well, the 3 parts of that, and so just first of all, just go through the first one over here. So the first one, the 729 station, going from the 7th of November 2018, and that has been equalized because Enoch's calendar from Chisvan 24 to Chisvan 30, it's equalized to the 24th November to the 30th of November 2018 via the God's calendars. And the T3 29. There's something about T3 29 actually. Previously I was explaining about 9/11 being associated with pi and transformation, and there's something about T329 as well. It's also a sabbatical reference, because in Genesis 7 it was calculated through the sabbatical code. In Genesis 7 and Genesis 29, the entire book of Genesis, it's only these two chapters, consists of the sabbatical code of purely 4 of the 7s. And so it shows that T329 is a huge sabbatical marker, and also what goes behind it, the reason is 729, because 9 times 9 is equal to 729. And that is an overturned 666. And the overturned 666, it's a meaning of transformation. And the number 6 is the number of man, and so right here it actually referencing that 29 and 30 T3 that goes by the 6 and 7 day rule, and the first day of 29 and 30 T3 is equalized with the first day in Kislev 11:12 down here in November the 24th and the 25th 2018, and that's how they equalized and explained the meaning behind it. And there's something about 7/11, which is here, the 7th of November 2018, which back in Genesis chapter 4 verse 24, it was a pattern on the 7/11 from Cain, who had 7-fold, and Lamech, who had 77-fold, and 7 times 11 is 77. And that was hinting the importance of 7/11. Within the 424 boundary, as explained before, the 424 boundary is pretty much the same as what we call the 70 years old mark from the birth of Israel. And so going to the second place in 2015, so this is part of the picture. The two other partial parts I do believe would be 2016 and the 2013 reference to this 2015 reference. And this 2329 as well, it just goes until choose fund 5 from the October the 19th. And definitely this date on the 13th of October 2015 was a major marker of Daniel 9, the calculation, and there was a calculation that was done between the Elu 29 counted from September the 17th, 2001, and another Elu 29 of the greatest market crash in a single day on the 29th of September 2008. That was on Elu 29. And the same amount of days between 2001 and 2008, it landed on to 2015. The 13th of October, and that we have to see via the Enoch's calendar. The Jewish wouldn't work because the Enoch's calendar, it's always right, and it's T329 on the 13th of October. And that's how it led to the calculation that led to this huge marker of T329 from Elu 29. And there's no coincidence the 6th month and the 7th month being connected. There's something about Elu 29 and T329, this being the 6th and the 7th months of the Jewish calendar, and because this is showing once again the sabbatical code. And this is the first part of E, which is part of the picture 2930 of T3. The last part with the V and the E, we have to go back to (2016) and 2013. So going back to 2016 and 2013. So right here in 2013 it was the Sun Jonah Precursor marker. Back then on the 16th and the 19th of October 2013, and that was on the Chiswan 25, which is actually before that is T329 and 30, and that's going by the 6 and 7 day rule. And this Chiswan 2 is the situated in the mist in the 6 and 7 day rule. So in the mist and that, the letter V representing the 6th seal and the 7th seal reference, the crucifixion reference. And so here it's the other half of the entire thing being connected with 2015 of the T329 and 30, and adding the 3 days rule later will be the other half that we can see right here of the marker representing the 3 days of darkness, exactly the exactly the pattern of what is to come, and also the same choose on 2 to 5 again the 2nd to the 5th of October 2016. And there was something about this because choose one 2, that was the date transitioning of the Hebrew year of 5776577, and that was a sabbatical code on this date of Rosh Hashanah, and on the 29th of Elul via the Jewish calendar, choose one 2 via the Elijah's calendar, 2318 via the Enos calendar, 2318 or 2321. And so this is a very important reference to what I'm about to explain about the rapture boundary located in the 2019 January time frame. It's directly linked up with this time, and because it is possible that we can know the reference without knowing the day or the hour of the rapture, because no one knows except the Father, and so I really believe the literal meaning of the scripture. But because of the God's calendar's method, it's possible that the reference of an exact date can be referenced for that coming time ahead without knowing exactly which day, because of the references that can be made back in the 27th and 28th of November 2018. And as explained before, that's the 6 and 7 seal references together, just as Euler's number, that it's a set of 1828. And so lastly, what we can see over here is December the 27th, 2018 to the 2nd of January 2019. From Tibet 13 to Tibet 19, which is equalized with October the 13th to October the 19th reference. So they're just all in the network, and the lines that I'm connecting from date to date, that they're equalized. It shows them they're equalized. And in Tibet 13, it also referenced at the same time, simultaneously with Christmas in 2015. That was on Tibet 13 as well. So they're also running on the 6 and a 7-day rule. Through the 729 structure, and as explained before, there's a direct link of Christmas, from the day of Christmas to the day of transformation. There's a direct connection between them, and that also makes how Tibet 13 is a very important date. That's October the 13th equally. So when I say that the two parts of 2015 and 2018 to be merged together, they actually had seen, well, a few days apart from them. So this Tibet 13 is then linked up with the Tibet 13 and 27 of December 2018 with the Christmas Day in 2015. And so it just pretty much shows that the connection, it's pretty much a supporting evidence. So the first day is a third day, E is a V, and that's how the pattern of Revelation 9, referencing to the rest of the timeline, it also echoes to the first day of E. And this date of Tibet 13 or Tibet 14 are very important. Just referencing back to T3 chain 9 and 30, 13 and 14 October, that marker was a huge marker, as explained before. And what led to the end of the Tibet 19, that's actually on the, and even with the December 30 over here, 2018, is actually referenced back to the 8th of 30 in IDs of March of 14 or 15 of 2015 over here. 8 of 30 is equalized in December the 30th. And that's exactly going down here in Tibet 16. It's the reference of the star, the 3Ds and darkness, a reference of the 6th seal. Exactly going back to here, the 27th and the 28th of November 2018, as it jumped from the reference that connected to the 729 structure over here to this place, and they just all connected together, and TVET 16 over here is actually a 6 seal reference, sub-reference to the main reference over here. Let's go to the 2019 on the 2nd of January, and that actually made me realize about the importance of that date. And just my mind has been able to automatically convert that to the 2nd of October 2016. That was Elu 29. The Rosh Hashanah that created this sabbatical code, transitioning from the Hebrew year of 5776 to 5777, and that date is actually an Elu 29 date, and because of the first lumen delay being on Kislev 25, that's a Christmas reference, because God's calendars convert Kislev 25 to December 25, and that's also November 25 at the same time because of the first lumen delay, according to Exodus chapter 34 verse 22. And I think that's very important, especially because it's Elu 29. And remember that the last E, this is being the last E of the 6 and 7 day rule, and last E is actually going to be the first E, because there's a Sabbath reference explained before about the connection of these 7 days of creation, crucifixion timeline, and the 6 seal timeline, all of which at the end, that's a Sabbath reference, and the Sabbath reference, it just loops back in reverse to the first day, and because of how they're equalized, EV and E are equalized, and it's actually the Elu 29 what's so important about it, because it's not only the transitional year has been sabbatical, but also because going from Elu 29 to T31, that's the 6th month and the 7th month in the Jewish calendar. So that's in the 6 and the 7, that's again in the sabbatical sabbatical transition. So not only applying to the year but also the month. And that's how important it is with Elu 29 being converted from the 2nd of January 2019 with the 2nd of October 2016, and that was a date calculated in Genesis 7, and that was a huge marker to reference. Now, I think that's about what I have to explain. So I will not do it in this video, but in the next video I'm going to talk about the markers and some markers relationship network, the network between the substations and the core station, which is it's like a complete 6 and 7 days rule, but with markers and submarkers, they're just a single date equal to be converted, which are submarkers. Non-converted original markers are just markers. It's just called markers itself. And so the festivals of God, such as Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Pentecost, and Tisha B'Av, and a lot more, and Passover and all that. And all the festivals of God can be connected all together into one network and in God's calendars, and can be connected to the call reference as well. And there are also some major markers as well that can also be connected. So not only festivals of God, also other major markers that can be connected as well. For instance, some markers that are not festivals of God. Well, I'm just trying to find one that wouldn't be part of those substations. There's some marker back in the 23rd of September. That's a Revelation 12 marker in 2017. And during the month of November 2018, we'll be back to the year 2017. That's how it works, and it's going to revisit back to that year as well. And so that's a major marker in supposedly Rapture marker in the 2017 September 23rd. The Revelation 12 sign, that actually also it just can be connected within the large network. And among those other main markers, the festivals of God, and so the ones that I wanted to explain will be the first Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the second Passover, the first Pentecost, the second Pentecost, the Feast of Trumpets, Day of Atonement, Feast of Tabernacles, Hanukkah, Tisha B'Av and Purim, and also other major markers. I know that there's so much markers that I couldn't even keep track of, and so I know that there are just dozens of them. But I just am referring to a few of them because markers just come and go so quickly, and sometimes it's so hard to track everything. Whether it's in the past or in the future. And there's some main markers that I've been trying to reference, such as the birth of Israel and the Ides of March and the Pentecost marker and the same-sex marriage legalization, fourth the blood moon marker, and actually a lot of those markers are part of the substations, whether it's type 1 911 or type 2 the 729. So just don't want to duplicate that, and in our next video I would possibly skip some of those that are not necessary to be said again. And what I've been saying about all those markers are just a lot more and so anyway, I'm just stopping over here and we'll continue in the next video. Thank you.